everybody, it's James here from goodguitarist.com, and in today's lesson I'm going to show you how to play Sunshine of Your Love by Cream. Now this one has a few riffs and a little chord section, and that's pretty much it. So we're going to discuss how to play the song, but we're also going to take some time to discuss how to get the right sound. And don't forget to check out my lead guitar ebook. It's completely free for all my subscribers. There's a link down below for that. It goes over all the fundamentals of lead guitar, whether you're playing acoustic or electric. It's all the same stuff and it's all in there. And if you have any questions, please ask in the comments down below. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Otherwise, we're going to get started with the main riff. I'll play it nice and slow. And that uses the blues scale, but in a little bit of a different position. So this is good if you're used to the minor pentatonic and you want to kind of break out of it and, you know, make your way out of it a little bit. We can do that. Anyways, we're starting on the 12th fret of the D string. I'm going to put my ring finger down there, and then I'm going to put my index on the 10th fret, and I'm going to go. So 12, 12, 10, 12. That's pretty straightforward. Then we're going to go to the A string and we're going to go 12, 11, 10. So we just have our fingers there, ring, middle, and index, and we just descend. Just taking off one finger at a time. And I want you to just practice that part, just going. And we'll talk about the rhythm in a second. Let's just finish up our riff. The last three notes are. So first we'll shift positions. We're going to move to the left by 2 frets. So now my ring finger is in line with the 10th fret and my index finger is in line with the 8th fret. 10th fret of the thickest string and then the 8th fret of the A string. Give it a slight little bend and then back to the 10th fret of the thickest string. So all the notes starting on the D string, 12, 12, 10, 12. Then on the A string, 12, 11, 10. Then we shift positions, thickest string, 10, 8, 10. So take a moment, get the notes in the right order, get comfortable with that. And now we can add the rhythm to it. The rhythm starts off really simple, just 1 and 2 and. So you can just count 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and just like that, you know. Get those first 4 notes. And then these next ones are all off beat. So we would go 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and. So the and after 3, then after 4, and then the and after 1. So I want you to count out loud. You know, that's the best way to get this. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2. And then we can add that first little bit. 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2. And just get that, you know, and take it at your own pace. You can see it right there. I want you to just take a moment, pause, count out loud, and play that. And moving forward, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. So those last 3 notes on the and after 2, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. So you can see the whole thing here. I want you to take a moment and count it out just like this. 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. You know, sometimes you can just feel it, and if that's the case, great. You know, you don't have to count it out right now. You can just play it and it'll be good. But if you feel like there's something up with the rhythm and it's just not quite spot on, that's the way to get it, is counting out loud and eventually adding the metronome. The metronome just counts for you and it makes a super steady pace, so it helps with quite a lot. But first, the first step is to get the coordination in yourself, you know, before you add that extra element of the metronome. Anyways, that's the main riff. Take your time, work out the notes, and then work out the rhythm. And when you're ready, we're going to play it together. I'm going to set my metronome to 60, nice and slow. 1, 2, 3, 4. Cool, so that's the main riff. Now for the verse, the riff is still present, but it's kind of built into some chords. First, we're going to start with one that's based off of D. So we're playing triads there, and triads are just little parts of your bar chord. So in this case, if you're familiar with the F bar chord shape, we're just going to use these 3 fingers, and we play them way up here, and that makes a D triad. So we're on the A string with our ring finger at the 12th fret, and then our pinky is on the 12th fret, just underneath it on the D string, and then our middle finger is on the 11th fret of the G string. It's just a little chord shape, and I like to play it with these 3 fingers. You can play it like with these 3, just like an E major chord, if it's more comfortable for you. For me, I like to use these 3 fingers because then I can have this one resting lightly on the strings, muting them, and it makes it a lot cleaner, right? So that's why I do it this way. And we're going to be following the same rhythm. In this case, we'll play this chord twice, 1, and then we go down 2 frets, 2, then back up there, and. So 1 and 2 and. And then we go just like before. It's the exact same thing. And now instead of going down here, we're going to do it 1 octave higher. So we're going to start on the 12th fret of the D string, same finger, and then we go over to the 10th fret with our index on the next string, little bend, and then back. So it's the same thing, it's just up 2 strings and then over 2 frets, and that's the distance of 1 octave on guitar. So all in all, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. So I want you to practice it once again the exact same way, getting the notes first and then counting it out, and now we can play it with our metronome nice and slow. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. The verse contains one more chord riff, and we basically take the same thing, but we're moving it over to G. Right there we were in the key over the D chord. Now we're going to be over a G chord. It goes like this. So it's very similar, there's just a couple things different. First of all, the shape we're using now is a G bar chord. And this is one of the tougher to play bar chords. If you want to make it simpler, you can just put your index finger on the 10th fret of the A string, and then your ring finger on the 12th fret of the next string, and you get a power chord. And that fulfills a similar role. But if you're a little adventurous and you want to do the whole thing, you can flatten this finger out, and then we get A string, 10th fret, and then 12, 12, 12 on D, G, and B. And the outside strings are going to be muted because the thickest string, your first finger is resting just underneath it, which mutes it. And then the thinnest string is being muted by your index finger right there, and also by the underside of my ring finger right there. So there's a lot of finger touching that string, preventing it from ringing out. And we get nothing, 10, 12, 12, 12, and then nothing. But if that's too much, you can just play a power chord like that, which is a good way to get into it because it's a similar position. Anyways, we do the same thing with our chord. 1 and move it down 2 frets, 2 and then back, and 1 and 2 and then we play the same riff, but we're just over by 1 string. So we're on the D string now, but same rhythm and everything. And then we shift over by 2 frets. We go down 2 frets. Now our ring finger is going to be on the A string at the 10th fret. And then our first finger is going to be on the 8th fret of the D string. And we go back to our ring finger. So, all in all, that part is exactly the same as the first riff we learned, except it's over by 1 string. So when we put it all together, we have our chord, and then similar to the intro riff, but but over by one string. So once again, take a moment with that, and then we can practice that together nice and slow with our metronome. 1, 2, 3, 4. Cool, so that's the majority of the tune. There's just one other part, and that's the chorus. It goes like this. So we start off with an A power chord. That means we're going to put our first finger on the 5th fret of the thickest string. That's the note A. And then we're going to put our ring finger on the 7th fret of the next string and our pinky finger just underneath that. And the power chord is a great gateway to get into bar chords. It's the first thing I recommend to anybody who wants to learn how to properly do bar chords because it gets you in the correct position for that. So we have our A power chord and we're going to go down, up, down. And we're just strumming the thicker strings. I'm not doing them all, but I still recommend having your finger rest on those strings just to mute them, just in case. But we're focusing on the thicker strings and we go down, up, down, 3, 4. As far as the rhythm goes, we're actually playing 16th notes there. So it's 1 E and 2 E and that's the counting style that we have to do for those 2 beats. And we would go 1 E and 2. So if you're having trouble nailing the rhythm, you have to count it out that way and it makes it possible, you know. And we just go 1 E and 2. And then from there, we can switch back into 8th note counting. So if I was counting it out, I would go 1 E and 2 and 3 and 4 and just like that. Anyways, that's how we start off with that down, up, down. And then it's super straightforward from there. We're going to take our A shape, we're going to move it down 2 frets and then over 1 string. And now our first finger is on the 3rd fret of the A string. We're playing a C power chord. And then we move it that way and we play a G power chord. So we just go C, 2, G, 4. So with the counting, we go 1 E and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and that's ultra slow. When you do it a little bit quicker, it's more like 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, down, down, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. So you can see that's all here. Just work that out. And we would play that 3 times, and then we would go and that is really straightforward, just counting, playing downstrokes on our A chord, going 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, and 4. So all in all, our chorus goes like this, nice and slow. Get out my metronome here. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 3, 4, 2, 3, 4. 3, 4. All right, so those are all the little parts that make up this tune. Now, before we put it all together, let's just take a brief moment to talk about gear. Now, when Clapton played with Cream, he used an SG. It was called The Fool, and it had like a really cool paint job. It was done by an art collective called The Fool. And he was famous for the woman tone, and he would take his pickup selector and he would put it in the middle, selecting both pickups. He would then set his tone knobs to 0, and his bridge volume, he would bring it up to about 6 or 7 with this one at maximum. And if you look online, you'll see that's like the instruction manual for how to get this tone. So he would set up his guitar like that, and then he would plug in to a 100-watt Marshall, which is a huge amp that makes a ton of sound. It'd make your ears bleed if you played the thing as loud as he did. And, you know, that's not a very realistic thing, right? So when it comes to what you and I can do, I'm using an AC30 because I don't have a big fat Marshall head. That is going to be my next amplifier though, when I can save up for it. But if you're using any sort of amplifier, it doesn't really matter what, I think the most important thing is rolling off the tone on your guitar and using the neck pickup. That'll make the tone nice and soft. And then using some sort of distortion, whether it's on your amplifier or on your pedal board, some really light gain just to add some hair to it. I can't really tell you exactly how to set your gear because there's so many different kinds of gear and so much different stuff, right? But ultimately, just listen to the recording and then listen to your sound and just go back and forth and just try to get as close as possible. You're probably not going to get exactly spot on without the exact gear, the exact fingers, but just try your best and know that the tone is a bit rounder in this one, a bit softer, so you'd probably want to go with your neck pickup. Anyways, now that we've talked about getting the sound, let's put this song together. We're going to start off with our intro riff, and then we're going to play through the verse, which uses that stuff, and then we'll play our chorus. So let's give it a shot. You can always just watch, see what's going on, and then try it with me after. 1, 2, 3, 4. So that's how you play Sunshine of Your Love by Cream. That was basically the entire first minute and a little bit of the song, and the rest of it is just the same parts recycled. I recommend listening to the recording. Don't forget to check out my lead guitar ebook. It's completely free, has all the fundamentals in it. I'm releasing a lead guitar course soon. There's a link down below to sign up, and you'll be notified in advance when it comes out, and you'll get a little bit of a discount too for if you sign up ahead of time. So I'll put that below, and have a fun time practicing. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Ask any questions in the comments down below, and I'll see you soon.